morning. So I'm glad you're here. We're going to go ahead and get started. As you know, I'm Lynn Hamilton, and this is session 2 of Jumpstart. So I've got my little Miss Maggie running around here somewhere. Hi, baby. Yes, she knows I brought her nummy treats, so she's my best friend now. So the important things that you got to know right up front. So anyway, I want to welcome you. I'm glad that you are here. Hopefully you all had a chance to do some of your homework from last week. As we've talked about, each of these 4 sessions, one builds off the other, to the next, to the next, to the next. And if you get behind, let me know. But we will want to get you caught up. So a couple quick housekeeping announcements as we get started. Want to give a shout out and thank you to Peyton with First Heritage Mortgage, who has brought in treats in the kitchen area. So if you're here live with us, got food over there for you. So the next thing we want to do is if you are watching from wherever, make sure that you have printed out the handout. We now have the handouts available for those that are here live in class. We've got them in the back of the room by the sign-in sheet. But if you're on virtually with us and you need to get it real quick, go to, obviously, your Cardinal Nest. Under Resources, there's a tab that says Jumpstart, and that's where you can download it and print it out real quick so you'll have it. It just makes your experience of going through the class much more rewarding, and it keeps you on track. So pull out a pencil, a pen, a highlighter, a crayon, a lip liner, I don't care, whatever you got, because you will want to make notes as you go along as well. So, special thanks, as always, to Cardinal Title, who is sponsoring this class. And so we wanted to say thank you to them. And again, reminder that if you have not had a chance to use Cardinal Title, they are impressive, I got to tell you. So definitely go check them out next time you have an opportunity to use them, and tell them I sent you. So anyway, so thank you to Cardinal. All right, so here's a couple of suggestions as we go through these classes. First off, you want to make sure that that you've got, obviously, your printout, because the front page of the printout is also designed to be your checklist, if you will, keeping track of the tasks that you need to get done. And then it also comes in handy when you're going to meet with one of your mentors, your coaches, your broker, whomever, to say, hey, this is what I've gotten done, this is where I'm at. It's going to help them guide you better. So you want to keep those. I would also wanted to let you know that on each page of the handouts are numbered, and the bottom left, I need on my left and my right, the bottom left is a page number as well that coincides with the page of the handouts. So if by chance you have to leave or you come in, you need to find out where we're at, that'll help jumpstart you and get you caught up with us. And then last but not least, I would encourage you to take these handouts from each of the sessions, put them, 3-hole punch them, and put them in a binder. That way you're creating your own training manual, if you will. And then as we get into the successory components of the things that you're actually going to be doing, then you can have it in there as your guide as well. And again, even if you're going to meet with me or we're going to do some coaching sessions, kind of Q&A sessions regarding Jumpstart, it allows you to have everything in one place. It allows us to say, what have you gotten completed? Where are you at? What do you need to do from there? So those are my suggestions from there. So here's a couple class rules I want to hit with you real fast. Is first off, make sure your phones are off or on silent for me. Yes, I got mine off as well, please, I hope. I want you to be open to any new ideas, because we're going to bring you some new stuff. I always like to ask, may I have your permission to be blunt and honest with you, tell you what you need to know, and not always what you want to hear? You okay with that? Thumbs up? All right, excellent, thank you. Because I'm going to remind you sometimes. What I need to ask you to is for me to give me permission to hear my heart and forgive my mouth. See, because sometimes stuff just gets crazy, and I will speak from the heart. So if I need to tell you, hear my heart, forgive my mouth, I will try to warn you either ahead of time or after that you gave me permission and it was okay. So with that, we're good. All right, I'm going to ask you to laugh at my stupid jokes. Okay, there you go. You're supposed to laugh at that one. I hope that you will learn something new, and at the end of each session, I am going to ask you, what was your aha, what was your takeaway? Because again, this information, as any information, is no good whatsoever unless you start implementing it. So I'm going to ask you what your aha, what your takeaway is so that you can start implementing it. And obviously, I want you to implement what you have learned. Because again, without implementing it, you got nothing. You got nothing. As I shared last time, and hopefully you've had a chance to go back and watch session 1. It is available through the Cardinal Nest now for you under Resources. And if you haven't, I'm going to encourage you to do so because, again, these 4 sessions are designed to build one off the other. And we can't do stuff next week unless you've gotten 1 and 2, a couple of the components in place and done. So, okay? All right, so I always like to start with a word of wisdom, which is also on your front page, is people need to start seeing you as a professional and knowledgeable in the industry. And I don't care if you are part-time or full-time or dual career, you still need to bring the same level of professionalism to the table that you were if you were full-time, you know. So a common mistake that agents make is, oh, they just kind of fly by this through their pants. Yeah, no, not so much. You don't want to do that. So, okay? All right, so there is your word of wisdom for the day. All right, so you ready to get started? Boom, let's go ahead and jump right in. So today's session, we're going to build off of what we covered last week as well. As you have figured out quickly, my expertise and my niche is in the marketing department and the business foundation. Yes, I've done real estate forever and a lifetime, but these foundation pieces need to be in place in order for you to build. You've heard me mention I've trained over 3,500 agents and I've learned a thing or two along that journey. And I have seen what agents have missed, what they didn't have in place, whether they were a brand new agent or a seasoned agent. And I say their business foundation was like Swiss cheese in the middle of quicksand. They never know that their next step was going to take them down a hole and wondered why they weren't able to keep momentum going, because they were missing pieces. Thus, the real estate missing piece. So, all right, so the first thing we're going to talk about is time management versus time blocking. So can you manage time, yes or no? Shout it out. No. No, you cannot manage time. Time starts at midnight. It goes around till noon. It comes back around to midnight again. You've got 24 hours. That's it. No more, no less. That's all you get. So you cannot manage time. So let's quit using the term time management because you can't manage time. So what you can do is block time, and there is a difference. So we're going to talk about time blocking versus and in partnership with your to-do list. So this is kind of that which came first, the chicken or the egg? I don't know and I don't care. Time blocking and your to-do list need to go hand in hand. Okay, it's like the chicken and the egg. You got to have them together. So when we talk about time blocking, it is literally blocking off time on your schedule to get certain tasks that are done. So what are some of the benefits? Let me step back one step. Is, basically what is time blocking? It's reserving a specific amount of time on your calendar for a specific task. You're going to look at what you need to do, thus your to-do list, and then block off the time in which to do it, thus your schedule. Okay? So what are some of the benefits of time blocking? First off, it's going to get you mentally prepared. If you know that you're going to come in and at 12 o'clock, you're going to do your email signature and all the other stuff that was in session 1 that you needed to complete, block off some time, you come in mentally prepared to get that done. The second benefit that comes is you're going to be focused. You are not going to get off on a tangent all over the place. Let's face it, we're all a little ADD, and squirrel, it's real easy to get off track. So this allows you to stay focused on what task is in front of you that needs to be done. It also is going to improve your productivity because, again, you're staying focused and you have the ability to focus on that one particular task. Coming up next is it's less stress because you've got the time blocked off, you know what task it is you need to do, and you stay focused on doing that. Okay, so multitasking. Who thinks multitasking is effective? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Thumbs down. Okay, so I've got a couple in class. I've not done this remote before, but we're going to play a game. I need you to pull up your phone for me. I need your timer on it, and I'm going to pick on my friend over here. So when I say go, you'll start your timer, and when I say stop, you'll stop. And if you're watching virtually or watching it back on replay, try this. It's going to be fun. All right, so do you know how to count? Okay, and you know your alphabet? Perfect. All right. We are going to, you got your timer up? Okay. Come on, Katie.
Come on, Katie. Get with the program.
Okay, we got it. All right, so when I say go, you are going to count from 1 to 10. Ready? Go. Stop. Okay, jot down the time. How much was it?
3 seconds.
3 seconds. Okay, now you're going to count from A to J. Ready? Go. Stop. 3 seconds. Okay, now multitasking. 1A, 2B, ready, go.
1A, 2B, 3C, 4D, 5E.
Yeah, she dropped the word. Yeah, nope, keep going.
Okay, wait. Can I write it?
Yeah, okay, go ahead and stop.
Oh, thank you.
She got off track. What was the time?
I have to do math.
No, it should be on there.
20 seconds.
Okay, so about 20 seconds. So the point behind this fun game and exercise, thank you both for playing along with me. If you're focused on one thing, counting to 10, you can do it real fast. If you're focusing on the alphabet, you can do it real fast. But the minute your brain, believe it or not, is not designed to multitask, and you did the 1A, 2B, 3C, so on, so on, so on, so on, it actually takes you 3 to 4 or longer times longer to get through the same task. Okay? So that was a perfect example of it. If you've not done it, do it yourself at home. And thank you for playing along. That was funny. Okay. Yeah, it is. So we did the multitasking quiz. Now you know multitasking doesn't always work. All right, so let's get into talking about how we go about blocking off time and how to time block and some tips on that. So first thing you're going to do is you're going to determine when. What is the time? What is the day that you need to set aside for a specific project? Well, that's real easy. We all have calendars. Whether it be paper still or whether it be electronic on your phone or on your computer, you take a look at your calendar and figure out when you're going to block off time. Then the second component is you need to determine what task it is that you need to get done. You're going to block off the time to do that. You're going to take a look and determine how much time you think you're going to need in order to do that task. Okay, so it may be I need 15 minutes to redo the email signature on my email. I need 5 minutes to do my voice, re-record my voicemail on my phone. That's 20 minutes. Okay, I can look at my calendar where I've got 20 minutes. Those are the 2 tasks I'm going to do and get done. And with that, you're going to stay focused, prepared, and knock it out. Okay, so the next thing you're going to take a look at is what location. Where do I need to be in order to do that? Do you need to be behind a closed door in your office? Do you need to be out, at your home office? Don't knock that over. What is it? Don't laugh at me. So what is it that, where do you need to be to get that task done? All right? So once you've got that, then you're going to determine what supplies do you need to have at your fingertips ready to go to get that done. Now, here's the beauty of this. If any of you have kids, this is a great exercise for you to do and to verbally talk through so they can overhear it. I didn't say talk to them, but let them overhear it as you're blocking it down and doing it. Because when it comes time for them to start doing schoolwork and projects, you'll catch them doing the same thing. Or you can walk them through the same thing. So what is your homework? What do you need to get done? When do you want to get it done? Do you want to start at 3 or 3:30? Give them choices that are A-okay with you. How much time do you think you're going to need to get that math worksheet done? And, where are you going to do it? Do you want to do it at the dining room table? Do you have a desk? Again, define the location. And then are there any supplies that you need at your fingertips ready to go? Because if not, we do the same thing. We get off track. We go ahead and we start a project and go, oh, I need this. Well, then you go down the hall to get this, and then you end up talking to somebody, or you realize it was that load of laundry that you didn't take out of the washer yet, and next thing you're all over the place and you've totally lost track, and an hour later you still haven't got that 5-minute updating your voicemail done yet. Okay? Yeah. Yeah, she's asking if I have cameras in her house because that's exactly how she works. So maybe. I'm not telling. All right. So those are some tips on time blocking. And again, These things are basic business 101 fundamentals. But I've seen agents year after year after year after year not having a concept of these things and being all over the place all the time. So Parkinson's law says work will expand to fill the time available for its completion. So if your house is a mess, I'm just going to pretend, and I give you a buzz and say, hey, I'm in the neighborhood, I'm going to be there in 10 minutes, you'd be surprised how fast you can get it picked up, okay? Those dishes are going to go somewhere, the trash is going to go out, and you'll have, a glass of water for me when I walk in the door, okay? Now, if I call you and say, hey, I'm going to be there in an hour and a half, it's going to take you an hour and a half to do the same thing, okay? So the time the work will expand to fill the time that you're allotted. And again, we can see that over and over and over again in all aspects and areas of our life and our business. So, It's our brain. Yeah. Why does this happen? It's our brain. It's our brain. Yeah. Our brain can be, a great tool and a benefit. It can also be a curse, but we can't get rid of it. So, yeah, we just have to learn to reprogram it just a little bit. So. Okay, good question though. All right, so let's take a look at the next thing that is an important part of your business foundation, and that is a week at a glance calendar. Now, we all have one, whether it's electronic, paper, whatever. Here's what I would suggest you do. Every so often, color code it. Now, I'm going to say every so often, but I'm going to back up and correct that with, when you put tasks on your calendar, do you know you have the ability to color code it as you go? Okay, if you don't, let me know. I'll walk you through and show you how that's done. But when you go to the upper toolbar, there is a component on there that will allow you to color code your calendar. I would strongly encourage that you start making that a standard habit. And once you can set it and you can relabel the blue, you can put it for training, or green is your marketing because that's money making time, or you can use red, the Samson cardinal red as when you're actually with clients. And here's the benefit that comes from that. When you feel that you're getting burnt out and you're going, I'm just working all the time, you want to be able to look back, or you want your coach or your whoever you're working with to take a look at your calendar and really take a look, where are you spending time, and really what are you getting done. And sometimes it allows you to see that you're spending too much time in one area that's not paying off, okay? So keep that in mind. Again, this is because burnout so often happens in this industry. We want to make sure that we feel that we're keeping life in balance a little bit. Now, I got to admit to that, life in balance is like an oxymoron. It really doesn't happen. So, but it gives you a chance to say, okay, I've been working way too much. I need a me time. Even if it's an hour or 2 hour me time, and you block it off and you color code it. And so you're getting that recharge and reset time, okay? All right, so again, strongly recommend that you make that standard business practice, is to color code your calendar as you go along on various projects, whether it's your family time, your personal time, your spiritual time, whatever that is to you. You have exercise time if that's important to you. Make sure that those personal things, as well as your business components and what you're doing within the business. Oh wait, we talk about that session 4 of Jumpstart, how to break it down. So just know that is really going to be a great help to you and to any of your coaches, managers that are reaching out to help guide you as well. So that is a great tip to do. All right, so let's move on to the next one. So let's talk about Google Images. To Google or not to Google? That is the question. We have all, out of auto response, when we needed a clip art for something, jumped right to Google, found something we liked and went to use it. Well, guess what? Technically, we're not supposed to in business. There is what's called royalty-free clip art that you are able to use. Now, in your handout, it talks about Pixabay images. There's also other programs out there that are free. Sometimes you can find a free one. Sometimes if you find a clip art that you need, you've got to pay a small amount for it. But if you're going to use it in your business, then you need to make sure that you are using a royalty-free image. Again, this was one of those ahas that kind of surfaced not too long ago, and everybody's going, oh, I didn't know that. So you need to be careful of using images, because the last thing you want is to be using something and then having somebody come back and go, by the way, you owe us $5,000 for copyright infringement, okay, or whatever the number is. Now, also there is a company called Fiverr, Fiver. If you want to have a custom logo done or a custom something done for $5, you just go into the program, tell them what you need. It's a global platform, so somebody who's very talented in Timbuktu can log in and say, hey, I can do this for you, and then so that can be done. So just be aware and be careful of using the various images that are out there. So wanted to make sure we got that. All right, so take a quick deep breath. Breathe. Get oxygen going into your head. Take a sip if you need one. And we're going to jump into the next section. Now, as you know, I got my little house here, and y'all know what's in it. My puzzle pieces. Because as we say, these puzzle pieces all represent all the stuff that you need to be doing within your real estate business. And so often brokerages go, oh, look at all this great training we got for you. And you're going, okay, fine, but where do I start? And you spend weeks, months, and years going, well, I know, does this go with this? No, that doesn't fit. Let's get rid of that one. Does this, oh, wait a minute, this was good, but I don't know what to do with it. So you spend hours, weeks, and months trying to figure out how this all goes. So as you know, that was a good class. That was a good class. And my job, yes, is to throw puzzle pieces around, is to help you put this all together methodically and in order. And yes, I've been known to throw puzzle pieces at people in class. So just, you got to stay awake and stay paying attention. No, I bought that. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into the next component, and that is working from home or your workspace at home. Now, we all have learned to have an office space at home or even an office space at the office, but a lot of us don't really know the mechanics of setting up an effective and efficient home office. And no, I didn't color that, but it's cool, huh? So what I want to do is take a minute to talk to you about how to set up your workspace in an effective and productive way. So obviously, do you have a clear workspace available? And the dining room table, although typically is okay, it's not the best because you got to take things off every time you turn around, all right? Do you have the supplies that you need at your fingertips? All right? And do you have the discipline to stay focused and get the task done? Do you have business hours? Now, I know I'm going to step on a few toes on this one, but one of the biggest mistakes that agents make is they're their own boss. The bad news is they're their own boss. Because if you were to take a look at how you manage and how you juggle your time, would you hire you, fire you, or send you back to training? Ouch. I told you I was going to step on toes. I heard a few groans from the audience, okay? But ask yourself, if you do not have, I'm going to say set business hours, I would encourage you, that's a good place to start to add some in. Even if it's from 9 to noon. Because what is going to happen is you get up, you know you got stuff to do, and then all of a sudden the phone rings or there's an email, somebody needs something, da-da-da-da-da, oh, this looks like da-da-da-da, there's a sale here, there's a sale there, you got a coupon somewhere, and you're gone. And you are all over the place. So by having set business hours for yourself, now I get it, this is the real estate world, so it's going to be flexible. But without set, I'm going to say office hours, to get your marketing stuff done, and we talked about the daily task list of things that an agent should be getting done in session 1, you're all over the place. And next thing, a week has gone by, and then a month has gone by, and then 2 months has gone by, and then the peak market of spring and summer is done and over with, and you're going, but I didn't get anything done. Okay, I know I'm I'm not looking. I'm not looking at anybody. But I told you I was going to step on toes, but you gave me permission, so it's okay. So you just want to be careful. And again, common mistake I have seen over and over again is agents not setting time. Now, if you want to have, let's say you got kids, you want to get them off to school in the morning, whatever, and you want to have your exercise, your gym time, your own, time, to meditate or walk or whatever it is, go for it. And if you want to start your office hours from 11 to 1 or 11 to 2, I'm okay with that too. But you got to remember, if you have to erase it, you must replace it. So if you've got time blocked off, let's say from 11 to 1, and somebody calls, there's a brand new listing, or somebody calls, they want you to go list their property, you better be ready to go. And so you may have to erase that. You have to replace it. And on your electronic calendar, you can go in and reset the time. So if you've got to erase it, you've got to replace it. Okay? All right. So let's talk about the work zones within an office. Again, this is, business 101. This is not real estate 101, it is business 101, but most real estate agents never really understood the concepts of setting up an effective office space. So I'm going to break them down for y'all. All right, so zone 1, we call it, is if you were to put your elbows into your side, this is zone 1. Okay? Zone 1 is your computer, your phone. If you're right-handed, most of your, like your drink or your pins or something like that are going to be on the right side. If you're left-handed, it's probably going to be on the left side. So either way, it's okay. But that's your zone 1. Elbows to your side, that's zone 1. Those are the things you're touching literally every second, every minute, nonstop, all right? So going on to zone 2, if you put your arms out a little bit, this is zone 2, okay? I need my puzzles there, but I don't need them in zone 1. When I need them, I can reach up to them and give them a toss. But whatever those supplies may be, that may be your stapler, that may be your tape, that may be your, whatever other supplies you need at the ready, you'll use it once or twice during the day, but you don't need it in your zone 1 taking up your space and cluttering up your space, okay? All right, so your zone 3 are items that you need to still have in your office space. That would be things like a file cabinet or a bookshelf. You need them, you need to get to them regularly, but you don't need them in your zone 1, okay? Now, oftentimes I would have a container that held file folders, and you can get really cute ones now, and any projects that I was immediately working on or any transactions I was working on, once I came and sat down, I always had them up at my, right in my face. They were at my fingertips. I could check them because one of the things on your daily to-do task is to double check your file. Yes, on a daily basis, making sure you're up to date. You know what day you're on. You're making sure everything is in place. Okay, at least you're up to speed on it, and then you can put it back and go to the next one. Okay, so although but when I left, if I didn't need to leave them out, I would put them down in a drawer. But most offices you can lock or have safe or secure, so you're not leaving personal information out. So you have your zone 1, your zone 2, your zone 3. There's things like your bookshelf, file cabinet. You need to get to it occasionally, but not every waking moment of every waking day. So what this also does, it's going to help with a little bit of stress relief as well, because you're not wasting time looking for misplaced items. They have a place and you know exactly where they're at. You're also going to keep your personal and business space separate. I know a lot of us have a home office. I would encourage or recommend that you not have your personal household bills and stuff and paperwork and medical stuff intermingled on your desk with all your work stuff, okay? Now, if you only have the one desk or space to work on, you can have your personal stuff in a separate little file or in a file drawer, but do not have it intermingled and scattered amongst your business stuff as well. It is way too easy, and too often that stuff gets lost and misplaced, and deadlines then get missed, okay? You want to think about your office space as well, what works best for you, the seating, the light, your filing and retrieval systems, your personal touches in there, your things of inspiration. So you want to have it in an environment that just recharges your soul as well, that it's got good energy in there. It flows well, And when you're at your desk, whatever you look up at straight ahead of you brings you joy or brings you inspiration. Okay? So that, believe it or not, that's a big deal. It's a big deal. And then consider the backdrop of what's going to be behind you if you're doing virtual meetings. And we all do virtual meetings at some point. So you want to make sure that you're taking into consideration what's behind you. Now, sometimes there's a window behind me and it gives this glare and I look like I'm all washed out. I don't care how much makeup I put on, I still look like I'm washed out. So I've learned if I'm at my Samson office and doing a Zoom, I will take my laptop to the other side of the desk, which gives a blank wall behind me, but the sun coming, and I'll close the windows, but there's still light will come through. That gives it a better look. So at some point, take a look with your laptop. Am I better this direction? Am I better this direction? Am I better this direction? What gives you the best light and the best behind you? Okay? And if you're working from a home office and you're on a Zoom, please close the door, because we don't need to see who's walking down the hall, okay? Or who just came out of the bathroom wrapped in a towel from the shower. Don't ask. Don't ask. Don't ask, okay? So just trust me, I know on this one, so don't ask. Please don't ask. All right, so those again are some tips about setting up your office, your workspace, to make it effective, make it efficient, but also brings you joy and brings you energy as well. Okay? All right, let's go on to the next one. Tips on taking notes during class. Now, I know some of you are sitting going, Lynn, I probably learned this in college or I learned this in middle school, but I got a new twist for you. All right, so my personal favorite is any type of spiral notebook that you may want. Now, this is one of my favorites. I'm not sure if it's going to pick up well on camera, but this size, these are available at Walmart. They're $3 and something, so less than $4. And one of my favorites, this part, of course, comes off. And yes, I will put a label up here, and I'll put my business card on there that says, if lost, please return to. Boom, that way in case I'll leave it behind somewhere, I know I'm going to get it back. But here's the trick to this. And the reason, I like to share the whys behind it and the horror stories that goes with it. Notice I never call anybody out, though. I never tell you who did it, just that it was done. So this one, before I came and actually got my license, I worked for a little over a year for one of the top agents and co-owners of the company I was with in San Diego. He was a friend of the I'd known for a year. He used to work with my husband in law enforcement, went into real estate after he retired, and there were times he was about as disorganized as you could get, okay? So that was part of my job, is to keep him on track. And so one of the things I would see them do is somebody would come down the hall and go, remember the class we took on the whatever it was? And they go, yeah, it was great information. Oh, I need it. They would literally spend an hour or more running around like chickens with their head cods off, trying to find the notepad or the Post-it notes where they took the information on. Drove me nuts. Drove me nuts. So finally, again, I'm not sure where I got this idea from, but I went ahead and got him one. The trick is, you take the first couple of pages and you mark them as your index. So usually 3 or 4 pages is all you need in the beginning. That is your index. Have y'all ever looked at a book? I know you have. That was a joke question. So when you take a look at a book, there's the index. It tells you what chapters and what page, right? You do the same thing with this. So your first couple pages become your index. So if you were taking notes at, let's say, the sales meeting, you would put sales meeting, the date, any other information you want. If there was a particular topic that you thought, oh, I want to make sure I track that. And then either on the right side or the left side, I don't care, you would put number 1 and circle it. That's chapter 1. Okay? Then once you flip over a couple of pages on here, you would put 1, which refers to chapter 1. In the upper lines, you'd have the date, the class, or the meeting that it was, and then you would take your notes. So let's say there was something shared on well and septic that you went, oh, yeah, because occasionally I do areas that have that. I need to know about that. So you would have your sales meeting, and you'd have well and septic ideas or well and septic information. And so months later, when you needed to go back and reference it, you just go to this one and go well and septic. Okay, that was one, flip over one, there it is. Okay, if there was another one that was on oil tanks below the ground. Who knew? Yeah, there are. So that would be, let's say that was discussed at a sales meeting, that's number 2. So you just go over, to the end of your 1 notes, 2, same thing, date, and the topic, and make your notes on that. Okay? That way, you've got it all in one place. I'm seeing a few clap in class, so that means this is a good idea. This is a really good idea. And I still have some that go way back. But having the index in them allows you to save hundreds of hours running around, not able to find stuff. Okay? This is also why I recommend you take all your handouts from class, 3-hole punch them, and put them in a binder. Instead of going, well, I know it's here somewhere. No, it's in one spot, and you've got it all together. It literally takes 2 or 3 seconds. I'm going to give you 5 in case you're slow, to punch it and put them in, or to write it and put it in. All right? So, but that way, when you need to retrieve it, you've got it. So, is it better to invest, I'm going to say 30 seconds to get it set up to start with, or to spend hours looking for something that you need to retrieve down the road? Effective, efficient. Brilliant. That's one of my favorites. As silly as that may be, that is one of my favorites. So you've got your index in the beginning. You're going to label the pages with the chapter, if you will, and what the topic was. Okay? Awesome sauceum? Awesome sauceum. All right. And that is a word, by the way. I looked it up. So, all right. So, awesome sauceum. Okay. So, this is also going to help you in so many areas. And again, the biggest thing is to help you stay on track and not lose stuff and not waste a lot of time looking for something else. Okay. All right. So let's move on to this one. This is Post-it notes are your friend. If you don't have Post-it notes, go get yourself some because you're going to need them. Because also, too, what I've done in my notes spiral is I will put Post-it notes in there on certain things because you can just label it, just stick it out just enough that if you need to refer back to it, bam, you can get to it real quick. So there you go. Post-it notes become your friend. All right, so when we're talking about organizing and getting Business 101 mapped out and in place, one of the things that becomes helpful is when you've got your to-do list of tasks that need to be done and you're going, I don't even know where to start, jot them down on a Post-it note. And again, this little grid can be done on a computer. It can be done on a wall. You can buy that tape or painter's tape. It can be done on a whiteboard, a chalkboard, whatever you've got. I know agents will even do, take a really cool mirror and do it on a mirror. I don't care which format you use to do it, but this becomes handy. And if you were to come to my office in Fredericksburg, you will find where my desk is. On my little whiteboard off to the side, I have Post-it notes on it. And it's a whole list of the classes that we're developing out. And then I put them up there when I downloaded my brain. And then now I've gone back and said, okay, which ones need to go first? How do I put them in order? Which is going to trail one off another? And so, yeah. In case of an earthquake, you guys don't have earthquakes, California we did. In case of an earthquake and that thing comes down, I'm in trouble. But I did take a picture of it, so I'm good, all right? So, again, let these things, we are visual human beings, and that's why God gave us 2 eyes, in case you're wondering. And that was a joke, you're supposed to laugh. Okay, there we go, got it, all right. So, remember, that was one of the rules. You gotta laugh at my stupid jokes. So, they're laughing, okay. So you want to remember that we are visual human beings. Our brain takes in what we see. Now, as we mentioned last week, there's 3 learning styles. You're either visual, auditory, or kinesthetic. We are all 3. It's not one or the other. So there are times we're very visual, we need to see it. There's times we need to hear it, and then auditory, and then there's kinesthetic, which means we need to hear it, see it, feel it, touch it, which is why y'all get handouts, which is why we have the PowerPoints, which is why you get to hear my, sharing, and because it hits all those senses. We all learn in different styles. I learned that from Education 101. So use the things that are going to help you put it together. Don't think it's ridiculous or silly, because it freaking works, okay? So, trust me on this one. So Post-it notes become your friend. So as you're looking at the stuff from session 1 and maybe session 2 that you need to do, jot down or create your chart. Again, you can do it digitally as well on the computer. And just put the stuff in there that you know you need to, or whatever you need to do. Remember which came first, chicken or the egg, to-do list or your calendar. You're going to take a look at, okay, what do I need to get done? I still need to do my email signature. I'm not sure how to do that, but I still need to get it done. You're going to write your email signature on a Post-it note, and then you're going to come back and say, when do I need to get it done? It needs to be done in the next 7 to 10 days. So that's going to go on your first column. And then if it's something that, you're working on your marketing pillars, you may not have those mapped out yet. Session 4, Jumpstart, by the way. Those will be done in the next 30 to 60 days. Okay? So you're going to map it out. Now, you can put something on, and let's say it gets bumped. It's okay to move it and shift it. But here's where the beauty comes in. Once you've completed it, you need to move it down, not delete it. If you got it digital, you need to move the Post-it note down or move it down into a completed box along the bottom. It is important for you to visualize and see what you've completed and reward yourself for completing certain things. So let's say you've not gotten everything done from session 1 and your goal this week is to get everything done from session 1 because again, we can't be building off 3 and 4 without some of those things in place. So you're going to focus on getting that done. Then what are you going to reward yourself with? Now, it could be a manicure. It could be a pedicure. It could be, ice cream. Oh, yeah. Rita's or Carl's or wherever else is your favorite, What are you going to reward yourself with? Now, the big rewards come down the road at the end of transactions. So that's a whole other topic that we discuss. All right? So that's where, for me, I'm speaking for myself, that's where jewelry came in. Yeah. Diamonds are always on sale, just so you know. And I had recently got my ears pierced before I started in real estate. And so my reward for every transaction was to buy a really nice piece of jewelry. I have a really nice jewelry box. In case of fire and emergency, the family knows, grab my jewelry box and run. Okay? But that was the reward to myself. And I will tell you, I know this is, comes later, but that was one thing I had a certain amount of money that I set aside, that I earmarked, that I would spend on something. And jewelry's always on sale, by the way, because there's always a holiday or event coming up somewhere. So, but there was one that was a very challenging, very, very challenging transaction. We had every twist and turn we could hit on it. And so when it was done, I don't remember where I was at, but I found it beautiful. It was a necklace and earring set. I'll wear it one week and show you guys. So whenever I had difficult transactions in the future, I would wear that set because that was my reminder. Been there, done that, got through it. All right? So some of my jewelry tells a story. So, but yeah, whatever it is, when I worked for the agent when I was just serving as his admin, he needed suits. He'd been in law enforcement for 30 years. All he had was police uniforms. You can't wear those out and about. So suits was his thing. So every time he had a closing, that was his treat to himself, was to go out and buy a new suit or ties or shoes or whatever. Shoes and purses, by the way, but you can't have too many of those. But whatever it is, or if you've got kids and you want to include them on that as well, include them, So just have something, little rewards along the way to treat yourself and keep you on track and on task, okay? All right, so that is, the Post-it notes are your friend, and how to merge this type of a tracking board, aligning with your to-dos, your tasks that you need to get done, and building the foundation of your business to get ready to start learning how to market your business, which again, that'll come back into this when we get into that next session. And then the final session in session 4. From there, all the additional classes will feed into it. So that's what I'm hoping that you guys are now starting to see how the pieces of your puzzle are going to start coming together. Okay? All right. So with that, take a break, take a breath. Okay? We're going to change hats here in just 1 second, but we're going to get into the gut-wrenching stuff now. Okay. All right. So in jumping back in, we're going to change topics a little bit because this is kind of a two-hat class. When I put this all together originally, I had 5 sessions, and mindset was a whole class to itself. And when I was actually starting to look at everything that needed to be included, I came back and kept asking, how important is the mindset component? Do I need to cut it? Do I need to leave it? And I kept coming back, no, it needs to stay. Because this industry and this business is like a ride on a roller coaster. And your mindset in life and in business will make you or break you. And we're going to get into some gut, so I'm going to say, hear my heart. But we're going to get into some potentially uncomfortable, I don't want to go there, moments, but it's okay. So we're going to walk through it. I have seen more agents fizzle out and fall out of this business, not because they didn't have the skill set, not because they didn't have the ability to learn. It was because of the mindset. Or they had negative people around them that were constantly raining on their parade, and they couldn't hold up under it. So when I stepped back and realized, yeah, mindset is a valuable component of training, of education, of the foundation of your business, I decided, yeah, I was going to leave it in. Now, I will tell you, and we didn't arrange this, it just happened this way. Again, you may be watching this on delayed, so I apologize for that. But Sarah sent out today an email on her Tuesday tidbits, spot on. So if you get a chance, if you're watching this live, do go back and look at your email. Tuesday tidbits, it talks about mindset. And again, her and I were not in sync on this, although I guess mentally we're in sync on this. But it's a great piece that she puts out every week, so make sure you don't miss it. So let's talk about the mindset of each transaction. First off, you need to understand and accept that every transaction is going to be different. There are no 2 transactions that are ever the same. So get over it, okay? So it's like, what's the best little line there? Oh, you need to go to Home Depot, buy some wood, build a bridge, and get over it. Because they're laughing at me. But every transaction is going to be different. Just know that going in. The other thing is that you need to start owning and saying, and you are the PPS. You serve as their advocate, their consultant, and their PPS. Now, I used to have that on my signature line. I used to have it on my name badge. And it was a great conversation starter because people would go, so, what's the PPS? I am your professional problem solver, PPS. Because what do we do in this industry? We're solving problems. Okay? You are a realtor because you have a license and have joined the National Association. You are a realtor. But what you do is their advocate, their consultant, their PPS regarding their real estate needs and transactions. Okay? Learn to take on the mindset of I'm the PPS, and you're going to learn something new in every transaction. Just own it from the get-go, because if not, you're going to be crashing and burning real quick. All right? A big part of your job is to be the firefighter. You put out fires. That's part of the PPS. Stuff is going to pop up that you didn't expect. You're going to get a home inspection and you go, what? Where'd that come from? There's going to be stuff that's going to pop up that you had no idea. One of the best things that you can do, and this is slightly off topic but still on topic, is when you do your buyer and seller consultation, and yes, we're going to be doing classes on those eventually, I always prepped my clients with, first off, asking them if I could have their permission to be blunt and honest with them, tell them what they needed to know, not always what they wanted to hear. Perfect. Then, I was their PPS. They could not freak out unless I'm freaking out. Those were the rules. And there's going to be things that are going to pop up that we had no idea were going to come. And usually it's going to come in from the home inspection. But you know what? It's okay. Because whatever comes up, we know something's going to come up. So don't disillusion yourself to think that nothing's going to show up, because it's going to. Like, you didn't know, because you don't crawl under the house, that there's actually a tree stump holding the house up. Yeah, who saw that one coming? Okay. So know that your job is to be their advocate, their consultant, and their PPS. And that every transaction is going to have new twists and turns. And you tell your clients, you can't be freaking out unless I'm freaking out. Those are the rules. That is the fine print between the line and the contract. Then they laugh. Okay? But that's what you want them to do. You want them to understand this stuff is going to happen. Your job is to take care of it. You also need to remember, this is why we get paid the big bucks. Y'all don't get paid minimum wage, in case you haven't figured that out. Okay? The higher up in pay scale you go, the more problems and challenges you need to address and learn to take care of. That's the world. That's business. So, out of fun someday, when you're starting on a brand new transaction with a client, log in, like attorneys do, every 15-minute time block on your calendar and color-code it a particular color for that client. And at the end of the transaction, you go through and you add up those 15-minute time blocks. And you discover how much you actually worked on a transaction. Calculate what you got paid and calculate your dollar per hour. It'll be an eye-opener, just letting you know. So, okay? All right, so that is a great one to do. And then don't forget to breathe. Okay? I have seen more agents fall apart in this industry because they did not have the grasp that all transactions are going to be different. Well, this didn't happen in my last transaction. Well, no joke. Okay? Every transaction is going to be different. And if you come into it with the mindset of, okay, I'm going to get to learn something new, because this report came back with this, and I'm thinking, what the heck? I had one time, about drove me to drink, but it was okay. I learned a heck of a lot. Because what was physically there, now the original guy that bought this huge strip of land then subdivided it out. So what was physically there with fences and the little, easement road, what was written on title, and what was written on their deeds were all 5 different things. So my client is looking at this particular property that's landlocked, because they were going to sell the vineyard off the back end of it separate. That created a whole new issue. Then the issue came up about whether, the insurance company. The insurance company couldn't insure it because of, certain things out there. And guess what? San Diego, it was in a high fire risk area. Okay, that area had gotten wiped out once or twice. And so we knew that, and that was a little bit of a concern. But when all this other stuff on title and easement and physical started coming up, it was like, holy smokes. So I could have either gone into absolute mode, or I could have said, okay, I get to learn something new. Let's go. And I ended up calling the fire department, or I called the insurance company. I said, introduced myself and said, so this is the challenge with my client, this is the property, and he paused for a second, and he goes, you're not going to yell at me? I said, I hadn't thought about it. Do you want me to? Because I can hang up and call you back, but I need to muster this up. And we started laughing, and he says, no. He says, usually when I get a call from an agent, they're yelling at me over something. And I went, that's not good. No, you never yell at your transaction partners and service providers. We talk about that next week, session 3. All right, so we got through and he explained, and I said, okay, made sense. It wasn't his fault. Why would I want to yell at him? So we had a good giggle, and he said, lady, I don't know who you are, but I want to meet you someday. So if you're ever out this way, please stop in for coffee or drink or water or whatever. And I said, you know what, I'm out in that area often. I will stop in someday because I would like to meet him as well. Because what was his experience with agents? Typically calling and yelling. What do you mean you can't do this? Blah, 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 I need it done. Well, no. They have limitations and regulations as well. So, mindset made a big difference. So there was a question about the reason that part of it was a problem because there was only a 12-foot driveway. Well, according to fire regulations, it needs to be 14 or 15. So I call the fire station because they're going to be able to enlighten me a little bit. I thought, okay, this will be good. And it's also good marketing 101 to say who you are into these different connections. Just saying. So I called the fire department and I said, this is who I am, this is what I'm doing, I'm working on a project on this street, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And the guy goes, I know exactly where you're talking about because I live on the other side of that street, on the road over. It was like, perfect. He says, yes, technically the easement roads are supposed to be 14 to 15 feet, but trust me, if there is an emergency on the back end of that street, I'm taking my however many 1,000-pound, 14-foot wide fire truck, and I'm going to run over somebody's prized rose bush to get there. He says, that is not going to stop me. If they need an ambulance or a fire truck, we're coming in, and we're going to take off the roses along the way. But again, I got to ask some questions. It got me an education about the regulations in that side. So always look at these opportunities and these transactions, a chance to say, I get to learn something new. I get to learn something new. Now, did I ever need to use it again? No. But I got to learn something new. And as it turned out, we decided to back out of the transaction because, again, the backside was being sold off. The property was going to be landlocked, and there was going to be an issue with insurance, and it was going to cost my client several thousands of dollars to have it all re-surveyed and remarked and everything corrected. And it's like, we just went, yeah, no. Which turned out to be a good thing because 3 years later, the fire wiped it out. So, and if he had been there, his insurance may not have paid off, and it would have been a loss. So God works in mysterious ways sometimes, and it did pay off. But mindset will make you or break you. I cannot say that enough. So know that is a big part of it. All right, so we talked about calculating your hours. We talked about remembering to breathe. Okay, so here is a great life lesson. This is a great motto of life. And that is, life is going to dish out stuff that we don't get to vote on. Okay? I think you can all do a quick walk down memory lane and think of one or two things that's happened in your life that you did not get to vote on. Because if you would have voted, you would have probably voted a whole lot different. But that is what life is. Life is going to dish out stuff that we don't get to vote on. And with that, you need to be able to take on the right mindset to get through it. So remember, stuff, or whatever other S word you want to use, happens, and this too shall pass. Rule number 1, don't sweat the small stuff. Rule number 2, it's really all small stuff. Okay? One of the things I'm going to ask you to do for your homework, and this is going to be a tough one for some of you, I know, but I'm going to encourage you and ask you please to do it. And if you want to share with me later, you can. You can email me or you just keep it private, whatever. I want you to take a moment and in private quiet time and ask yourself, what are the biggies in your world that either has happened or could potentially happen that's going to drop you in your tracks and knock you to your knees? Because again, life is going to dish out stuff that we don't get to vote on. So what are those things that are going to knock you off your feet? Either onto your backside or knock you down to your knees and take the wind out of you. So as you're looking at those biggies, I'll share a couple with you. And I can't believe I'm actually going to do this, but it's going to give you an idea of what the biggies are. Okay? So some of the biggies in my world have been, and that I would say either, at some point all these have happened, but losing a child, either during pregnancy or after, or anybody that you know that's lost a child, I'm going to count that as one of the biggies. That's going to knock you on your fanny. Okay? The other one is losing parents, siblings, family members, loved ones, people that are just extremely important to you. Those situations, when those times hit, which they will knock you on your you-know-what. All right? The other one in my opinion, for me, is having a family member or a loved one murdered. Been there, done that. Okay? And the aftermath of that and the trial, and I don't wish that on anybody. But that is one of the biggies in my book, on my list. And then the last one is, in my opinion, for me of what I've experienced, that's a tough one, that'll literally take you off track and knock you on your fanny, is looking at a sibling and have to decide at what point do you take them off life support. Will they survive? Will they not survive? Will they come out a vegetable? Will they wake up and know who you are? Okay, so I can't believe I actually shared that. I can't believe I got through without crying. But what I want you to understand is shit happens. We don't get to vote, but we need to have the resources around us to keep us going, one foot in front of the other. And for some, it's deep faith and trust. Others, it is, support people around you. Whatever it is, I'm going to encourage you to step back later, take a few minutes, and write down what are the biggies that are going to knock you off your axis. And from there, everything else is just stuff. Everything else is just stuff. Know what your biggies are. And so know when those things happen, God forbid some of them won't, you can still get through it. But everything else is stuff after that. That is life 101. And life affects your business as well. So that is one of the reasons that I wanted to also leave this component in there, because it is important. A tip I heard just recently was when stuff is going bass-ackwards and things are going wrong, add to it right now. This is happening. That doesn't mean it's going to stay that way. It's just giving you your brain a point to identify right now this is happening. But it can change as well. So, yep, it's just bad weather. There's going to be, because after the storm, there's beautiful stuff that happens, and after the snow, all the crocuses and all the other stuff start breaking ground and coming through. So that's good. All right, so let's go ahead and talk a little bit about, I know, that was, sorry. Let's talk, oh my God, I'm good. How are you?
Which one are you, a fixed mindset or a growth mindset?
Growth.
Both?
Growth.
Growth.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What are you?
Me too.
You too?
Me too.
Cool. Yeah.
Me too. Laura's a growth. Is Laura a good student?
Yeah.
She's bringing the energy. You can't help but have energy with Laura.
I know. She's actually behaving though. She's laughing at my jokes and doing everything she's supposed to.
She laughs at my bad jokes too.
Yeah. See, those are part of my class rules. They have to laugh at my jokes.
I always come after lunch and I always say I appreciate the person in class that was laughing. It was like, look, I know I wasn't funny, but at least one person kept me going with a good smile. You need a good audience member. Give a good active smile, a little laugh. It goes a long way.
It does. It does. Yeah, and that was good timing because we just kind of came out of some heavy stuff. So yeah, we talked about mindset and stuff happening.
You guys, good luck with the rest of your class.
Thank you, Donnie. Thank you. Okay. All righty. God, that made me jump. That was good. No, I didn't see it. I want. Yeah. Okay. All right. Who needs an echocardiogram? I just had one. That was good. Okay, back to what we were saying. All right. So, do we have a growth mindset or a fixed mindset? So, on page 7 of your handouts, we've gone ahead and have kind of listed out some things. So, off the top of your head, I'm going to point and you shout out whether you think you're a growth mindset, always looking to grow and to learn and to implement and da-da-da-da-da, or it's like, nope, I'm here, I'm done, I'm good. All right?
Well, that's why we're here. We're all growth.
I know. Learning. All right, so growth mindset, yes? Yes, all right. Fixed mindset, no. All right, you guys were awfully quiet over here.
I know.
So, yeah, this.
What's going on over there, Stephanie? Come on.
All right,
Come on, Pat. Let's go.
growth mindset, yes? Yes. Growth mindset, Yes, all right, excellent. All right, so when you get a chance, take a quick peek at what are the growth mindset, what are the fixed mindsets. I think we've already discovered that y'all are in a growth mindset because you're looking to and wanting to grow and learn. So now on page 8 of your handouts, again, I've listed about 12 things on there that are kind of words of wisdom, if you will. So what I'm going to ask you is at some point peruse through those, mark which one speaks to you that hits your hot button, because I'm going to share with you in a minute how to use those as well. So, all right, so find the ones that speak to you because it's important to have those words of wisdom available to you because guess what? You cannot pour from an empty cup. When you are working with clients, you are giving, giving, giving. When you're working with family, sometimes you're giving, giving, giving. And we need to refill our souls with good stuff. All right. So take a look at which of those things speak to you, and then what I'm going to encourage you to do is to identify some things that are your go-to source. So when you're having those down moments and you need to kind of re-energize yourself back up again, what is your go-to source? Is it music? Is it a particular song? Is there a book that you like to read from? Is it prayer? Is it meditation? Is it listening to alcohol? Okay, she's just saying. All right. So is it motivational, speakers that you can find because they're all on YouTube now, so you can have access to them all. One of my favorites that I would encourage you to take a look up, and it's on page 8 of your handout. One of my personal favorites is John Maxwell, and he does a minute with Maxwell, and you can Google it on YouTube, you can get it, you can listen to it, and then there's a link on there as well. If it speaks to you and you would like to get that into your email, every morning, it pops in around 6 o'clock or so, but it's his minute with Maxwell. And typically what he has is a word that he uses to give you a message. Literally, from the intro to the exit, it's about 1.5 to 2 minutes at the most. But I find that if I miss it, it's like, wait, I need my John fixed, and I'll go back. Now, what I've actually started doing, too, is I'll go into my calendar, and I will take whatever that word was and put it at the top of my calendar day. So as I'm flipping through calendar and doing it's still kind of hitting my brain and resonating what it was he said about that particular word. So, again, there's so many great ones out there. Find some that will fill your soul, okay? Because when those days come, you need to be able to know what you need to pull and to fill up with, okay? All right, so Minute with Maxwell, check it out. I hope that you enjoy it as much as I do, and I love it. So next thing we're going to talk about, and as you know, I like to give credit where credit is due. If I remember who taught me this particular technique, I'm going to make sure that I'm going to share it with you. This was a technique that Jim Rohn taught me a long time ago. Now, Jim Rohn, if you don't know him, please look him up. He's on YouTube. Him and Zig Ziglar are now passed away, but Jim and Zig were the early days of Tony Robbins. Okay, they were the gurus of getting your head on straight. And Jim has a very kind of a unique cadence to his speaking. And once you hear it, it stays with you forever. But again, he's got some great motivational stuff as well. This was a technique that he taught. Now, many years ago, I had the privilege of I had qualified to go to a workshop for 2 days with Jim Rohn. There were like 30 or 40 of us. That was it. Face to face with Jim Rohn. Now, I knew it was friggin' cool. I didn't realize how friggin' cool it was until years later when I really understood who Jim Rohn really was. It was friggin' cool, I'm just saying. But he taught us this technique that this is one of those gut wrenchers, but it is so good to do every once in a while. So let me set the stage for you. So we were with Jim. This was back in the day when we all had cassette recorders. Remember what those things were? Yeah, way back. So he asked us, to all bring our cassette recorders with us to the workshop, which we all had. And our homework one night was to go back to our hotel rooms and to record or write down, whichever we wanted, all the junk, all the garbage that people have ever said to us. The negative garbage, the negative, we're to write it all down or record it, one of the two. Okay? So we all did our homework and came back the next morning, and Jim calls someone from the group to come up and to bring her cassette tape. And we're thinking, oh dear God, he is not going to play it, is he? And good thing, no, he didn't. Just, okay, so y'all can breathe. No, he didn't, okay? But what he did was he took it from her and he goes, do you remember what's on here? And they're all like, yeah. And he says, okay, so you know with the cassettes, there's the tapes in there? Okay, he grabbed the tape and started pulling it out. And he says, so, they actually said that? Are you kidding me? That was nasty. Ooh, that must have hurt when they said that. Yeah, and he's pulling this out and kind of adding the 2 cents along the way. So he's pulling this out, and we're all sitting there going, oh my God, oh my God. And when he got it literally all out, he dropped the cassette on the floor, stomped it and broke it, picked the wad of stuff back up again, handed it to her and said, now replay the garbage. Okay? That was the in the gut that we all needed. We needed to get that garbage out and destroy it. So part of your homework is take a few moments to write down. Writing down is very therapeutic, by the way. So write down all the gunk, all the garbage, all the that people have said to you. What are you doing that for? You can't do that. Whatever it is. Write it all down. Then look at it one more time. Realize that they were idiots. I could put another word in there before idiot, but you fill in the blank, okay? And then destroy it. Whether you run it through a shredder, whether you take it to the fireplace and light it on fire, whatever it is, destroy it. Because here's what our brains do with this stuff. We hear it, and then our brains replay it 10,000 times on autopilot. We're doing something completely different, not even thinking about it. Our brain's still going, yeah, but you remember what they said about you? Remember what they said about you? They said you couldn't do it. Okay? You want to get it out, and then you want to destroy it. Now, occasionally when I'm doing a full session on this one, I would literally take 15 minutes in class to let everybody do it, separate, nobody sees what everybody else is doing, and then they would bring it to me and I'd pull out the shredder. I learned if I'm going to bring the shredder in, I better have Kleenex in, because there were a lot of tears that went into that shredder as well. Just the ability to unload that garbage and unload that junk and get it out frees up the mind. And the act of seeing it destroyed helps block the transmitter to say, well, you destroyed it. I can't play that again. So now, once you get the junk out, we need to put back in good stuff. So garbage in with what they said, garbage out, you need to get it out. Positive affirmations in, positive affirmations coming out, okay? It's all about your mind. They say that your biggest challenge is about that space. It is what is between your two ears. That is the biggest holdback and the biggest challenge you're ever going to have. So once you've done the get rid of the junk and destroy it and make it go away, you're cleared, hopefully a little bit. Yes, there may be tears, and that's okay. But now let's talk about what we need to do to get some good stuff back in. Where does that come from? That comes from the John Maxwell. That comes from the Jim Rohn, Zig Ziglar, Tony Robbins. There are squillions and squillions of billions on YouTube. We've got our Tom Ferry or Brian Buffini. We've got a lot of other, Joe Stump. We've got, Greg Luther. There's a lot of positive real estate, but also turn to the ones that just fill your soul. All right? So, but affirmations is the other part that I want to talk about. Affirmations is written as an I am. It is a positive, not, I want to be. No, you're putting it in the I am. I am a master of adding 2 new people every week to my database. I am enjoying living a healthier life. I am enjoying taking my dog for a walk. I am enjoying time specifically specify what it is, time with family. Okay? Whatever it is that fills your soul, then write it as the I am and the positive affirmation and prepare that. Now, this is also why I gave you some of those positive little sentences on page 8 of your handout. I would encourage you to grab one and add it into a 3x5 file card, post it on your mirror, post it on your dashboard so you can cover up how fast you're going. That way, when you get pulled over for speeding, you can honestly say, I didn't know, because it was covered with your affirmation. Just kidding. Okay. It doesn't get you out of a ticket, by the way. I don't think. I don't know. It might. But you want to make sure that you're finding some, yeah, they're laughing. It's okay. You want to make sure that you're building in some positive affirmations and positive sayings as well. There's a lot of cute calendars that have the affirmation of the day. If you need one of those, you can still go get them. All right? Whatever it is that you need to fill your soul and to fill your heart, that is a good thing to do. And yes, it needs to be daily. Okay? We talk about daily, because it's like vitamins. One a day is named one a day for a reason. It doesn't mean you take the whole bottle the first of the month and then don't have to take any for the rest of the month. It's going to make you sick, by the way. It's one a day, one a day, one a day, one a day. And I would rather take an agent who will do one thing a day, one a day, one a day, one a day, one a day, any day of the week, versus someone that says, well, I'm going to do 10. Because you're going to do 10, you may do 10 again, and then you're going to get off track, and then it's not going to get done. Then you're going to start exaggerating how many you actually got done. Does nobody any good. I would rather do a one a day, one a day, one a day. Add one new person to my database, add one card a day, one positive affirmation a day, one marketing task a day. One a day, one a day, one a day. I would rather have that any day of the week than one that won't and don't. Okay? All right, so the affirmations are in the I am. What I would welcome you to do is once you write out a couple of your I am, becoming whatever, I am, da-da-da-da-da. If you want to email them to me, lhamilton@samsonproperties.net will come to me, and I would love to see them, okay? Feel free to do that if you are so inclined. All right, so Tony Robbins says, you are who you become, who you spend time with. That's scary, because sometimes that's not a good thing. So here's a fun little game I'm going to have you guys do. It's an exercise. For right now, I just want you to write down 3 to 5 people that you spend the most bulk of your time with. Now, on your handout, page 10, it's got a list of 10 people. That's part of your homework. But right now, write down, I don't know, 2, 3, 4, 5 people that you spend time with. Now, if you're sitting next to them and you don't want them to know, you can use an initial or a fake name in case they decide to look at your paper and see what you're writing down. Then, once you've got that done, here's how you're going to rate them. If you have spent time with them and you just went, I just lost 30 minutes of my life that I'm never getting back, I'm going to say they're going to get a negative. They're going to give a minus. Okay? If you look at that person's name and go, well, you know, I don't feel any better, I don't feel any worse, it was okay, then they get an equal. If you walk out of my class and go, oh, or whoever that person's name is on your roster, and they say, you know what, that was the best few minutes or hour that I have spent. I am so glad that I took that time to be with that person. I am energized, I'm excited, I am, got my head on straight. They get a plus. Then the question comes, why are you spending time with the negative, the minus, unless you have to because they're family? Yeah, what if it's your kids? I usually hear, what if it's your spouse? Yeah. So, but that just tells you either you know it, and then you need to either be prepared and armed to go into battle with that person, or it's like, with holidays coming up, and family time, sometimes that's not a pleasant experience for some people. And if you know that ahead of time, you can generate your positive affirmations ahead of time and keep having them replay in your brain so that you are armed, you have your body armor up, you've got your weapons on board, your positive affirmations, and you're ready to tackle and take on. Okay? So It is fun to do that every once in a while, especially if you're thinking, why did I just spend an hour with that person? Because I just want to shoot myself now. That's not a good thing to do. So, but do take a look. I know that was an extreme exaggeration, but no, that was good. All right, we're good. All right, but be aware of who you spend time with. Be aware of who sucks the life out of you. Be aware of who just, you know what, you're good. You can take it or leave it, but you know it was okay. But then also be aware of who just lights you on fire and who energizes and is positive and uplifting and supportive. Those are the people that you want to reach out and spend time with. Okay? All right. We're doing good on time. All right. So now that you've had that one, here I always like to share with what are some of the books that are on my bookshelf. And I've often been asked, what were the books that gave me those aha moments as I was going through life or the business or real estate or whatever. And this was one of them. This is an oldie but a goodie. You can still find it on Amazon. I've got no skin in the game on this one. It's called What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. It's by Shad Helmstetter. The title alone speaks what it is. Okay? We talk about the negative talk, and we sometimes are our own worst enemy. Okay? We will replay that garbage, or we'll add to it. And we'll just keep telling ourselves stuff that is not true. So, great book. It's a quick, easy read. Again, I've got no skin in the game on it. I think you can get it on Amazon still. Mine looks like a coloring book. I always know when it's a good book on my bookshelf, because when I pull it off, and my favorites are on the top shelf. And when I pull them out, they got little Post-it notes, across the top and down the side. And when I flip through it, it literally looks like a coloring book. Now, granted, when we were kids, we were taught not to mark in books. I say there are sometimes it's okay. Okay, you want to highlight, you want to Post-it note. You want the stuff that's going to jump out at you. And if I need to go back and kind of get my head back on my shoulders, I'll just pull that out and even just flip through it a couple pages, because the message of it all starts rolling back in. So being careful with what to say when you talk to yourself is huge. Again, I cannot tell you the number of times I've seen agents literally crash and burn in this industry, not because they didn't have the skills, not because the skills and the training wasn't available to them. It was what was going on in their own head. And since it's against the law for me to, get rid of spouses, because, then we'd all go to jail and we'd have a record, and, you can't get a license with a, felony on your record, you just can't do that. Although I thought about it a time or two. But you just want to make sure that you are bringing positive into your spirit and into your soul. Because again, your brain is going to take it and replay it 10,000 times. It's going to replay the garbage. It's going to replay the positive. So you want to fill it with positive as much as you can. And I know this is kind of one of those muddy topics. It's okay every once in a while to shut the news off. Because oftentimes it fills you up with negative. Because that is what their goal is. Their goal is to work you up. Their goal is to capture you with headlines. Now, if you listen to the news clips or the magazines, their captions are attention getters. That is marketing 101. That is what it's designed to do, to bring you back in to watch and listen to it. So you want to make sure that you keep it in a balance. Okay? It's okay to shut it off. It's okay to turn to a book. It's okay to go to listen to something. And again, just make sure that you are filling yourself with something positive and something good as well. So there you have it. So here's what I want to do is session 2 that we have just finished has given you 24 tips and techniques. I want to know, what is your aha? What is your takeaway? So we're going to go around the room, going to get your ahas, takeaway. I'll repeat them back to make sure we capture it on the recording for everyone to enjoy as well. So we're going to start over here. What's your aha and takeaway from today's session?
Zoning my office space at home and making an index in the spiral notebook.
The index and the spiral notebook for taking your notes. I see several other heads nodding. And also setting up the zones for effective production of your office space. Lori, you have anything that's your aha takeaway? If not, just shout it out and then I'll repeat it back.
Okay. My aha takeaway moment was the Zig Ziglar, Jim Rohn, A Minute with Maxwell thing. I'm going to definitely
Okay, looking up Jim Rohn, looking up Zig Ziglar, and then the Minute with Maxwell. Again, one of my favorites. I thoroughly enjoy it. Okay, excellent. Thank you. Nina?
The same, the index and the market, the notebook.
Index in the notebook.
And I have tried it, however, how many times does it take that I have to make it a routine?
Until it becomes a routine. Yeah.
That's the problem I'm having, but
Yeah. And good point, good question. How often do you need, or how many times do you need to do something before it becomes a habit? I've heard 30, I've heard 45, I've heard 60. I'm going to knock my water over, I know. As long as it doesn't go on my laptop, we're okay. Explain that to Donnie. But just what I would recommend is when you go back to session 1, there's your daily to-do tasks. Add it on there, because you can customize that till the cows come home. Okay? Add it on there so that you know that you're checking it off, and then it becomes habit. Okay? And again, you got to remind yourself, because sometimes it's really easy to get off those habits. So, as well. Okay, very good. Aha, takeaway.
Aha was the notebook.
The notebook, okay.
Takeaway is for creating client hours. Where people
Tracking hours as to how much time you actually spend in a transaction. Because you think about it a whole lot. But the actual time, and think if you were an attorney, you bill in 15-minute increments. So that is why we say block it off in 15-minute increments as well, okay? Because if you have a conversation or something with them, you typically then go back and make some sort of an email to confirm the conversation, or log it, jot it down somewhere. So 15 minutes is about an appropriate time block for tracking how much time you actually spend with client, okay? Excellent. Over on this side, aha, takeaway.
My office space organizing, and then
Okay, time blocking was what was said, and then the office space organization. Absolutely. They are deal breakers and can make you or break you. Thank you, ma'am. All right?
Aha was the color coding of my calendar.
Color coding of the calendar?
I could do it on the calendar on my
Yes, you sure can.
So it's aha to take away. My other takeaway is index of the notebooks. I have plenty of notebooks at home that I really don't know what's in them.
Yep.
I'm flipping through, trying to find out. So the index or table of contents is great.
Yeah, the index table of content in your notebook that you're taking notes on is a valuable tool. Valuable tool. Excellent. Thank you for sharing that. You're up.
I would say the time blocking
Time blocking
and the office hours.
and the office hours. Yes, office hours. In fact, if you want to email me what your office hours are. And again, it doesn't have to be 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. It can be, 3 or 4 hours that you're going to focus on your daily tasks and your marketing. Session 4, Jumpstart. And then, what are the things you need to get done and have your business hat on during that time slot. Excellent. Excellent. Very good. Thank you. All right. Aha takeaway.
The office hours.
Office hours.
Yeah, the Maxwell minutes, so I want to look at them.
Minute with Maxwell.
The trash out.
Trash out.
Yeah.
Garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah, that was a really
Good one. Good. Very good. Very good. Thank you, Amina.
yeah. And general, all the time.
The whole thing. Yeah. Yeah. Amina.
So mine was definitely the index at the front.
Okay.
But also looking at the list of who I spend time with, I didn't have many people to put on the list, so it made sense actually to put myself out there and be with more people.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then find people who pour into me or give me a plus rating.
Yeah. So it was who you spend time with and rating them, understanding that we need to have people that will energize us as well. And so, there is a little bit of an advantage to coming to the office every once in a while, because again, all offices, regardless of the location, have workspaces available. You can come in and hunker in, and just being in that environment, feeds you and keeps you up and going. So, excellent, excellent. So with that, we are going to wrap up. I'm going to ask you to always remember, be the Uncola. Yes. Be the Uncola. You want to do something that is unique and different from what other agents are doing, and then think outside the box. Next session's class, we're going to get into heavy, excuse me, your database, how to build it out, what are the 4 components of your database, and then how to rank them. It's a great class. You do not want to miss it, but please make sure that you've done sessions 1 and 2. One particularly because you need to make sure you got KV Core set up. for your database. I want to thank, of course, all of you for being here. I also want to thank Cardinal Title for being our sponsor. And as always, remember, I don't care what you know. I want to know what you're doing with what you know. So with that, go out, have a great week. Be wonderful, be successful, be productive. Thank you for your time, and I will see you all next session. Bye for now. Thank you. Thank you. All right.